This podcast does contain spoilers, so if you're okay with that, listen on. If not, pause the podcast, go watch the movie we're about to talk about, and come on back.
All right, sweet.
Excuse me.
Brandon, over here. Hey.
Pardon me.
Why don't you have the popcorn? It's starting.
Woo! Hey.
Shut up. Shut up and listen to the podcast. Hey.
There's a lot out there to see. This is what we watched.
We're back, bitches.
Woo!
Chapter.
Where did we go? I don't remember going anywhere.
Yeah, I know. It's hard for everyone to realize, but I've been gone for a while. And so
Yeah, that's true.
the last episode technically was recorded a while ago.
That was.
So now we're back.
I don't even remember when that was. It was so long ago.
It was like 4 or 5 years ago, I think, right?
At least, which is I don't know how you figured out time travel or who you paid to get you back here.
Brandon missed you so much. He was sitting in your chair the last time we recorded.
He's still sitting in my chair.
He's still
now.
there. Yeah.
I think it's messed up.
I asked him to leave, but
He's been here the whole fucking time. I'm not
Just
going
waiting.
home. I'm
Just
not going
waiting.
home. He just
I'm not missing this one.
He's been doing a podcast since we stopped.
we just now decided to hit record.
Brandon was very upset when we told him we were not recording. So it's just streaming on Twitch for an hour and a half.
That's still a thing.
Twitch, yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
All right, cool.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's
Keep up with the times, man.
That's okay. All right.
like an old man.
I feel like that was like 10 years ago. I feel like there should be a new thing by now.
Twitch?
Yeah, sure. Well,
Twitch still exists. Are you searching it right now?
It's been 4 years since we recorded, so yeah, it was at least 10 years ago. Come on, man.
No, but Twitch is not. Then that would mean it'd be 14 years ago.
If it
was 10 years
from now, okay.
prior to the last time, even 10 years from now, I think. When did Twitch start? Well, I'm looking up when Twitch started because now Brandon's got me on this.
This is important shit. This is the research that you can't do beforehand because you never know what's coming.
Right.
That's a good thing about our show is you never really know.
Wow.
Yep.
That's why Wi-Fi is.
I'll give you. It started in 2011.
Holy shit!
I would have guessed 2015, 2016. That's what I would have guessed.
That's probably when it just got big.
That's probably when it was more prominent.
Amazon acquired them in 2014.
Jeffrey Bezos
sucking everybody up.
Okay, so this is chapter 4.
Yes,
we will be doing just episode 6.
Yep.
And
this is what we watched. It's a podcast about listening to us talk about watching movies. That's Matt. That's Jeff. I'm Brandon.
Matt. Brandon.
Hi, Jeff. Hi, Brandon.
What's up, guys?
So this...
That was so low key.
I really thought I was ready. Clearly I wasn't. So to get us started, just caught up, Brandon, I'm going to go to Geoff.
Ooh.
Jeff, get us caught up.
Nice.
On the previous episodes. Go ahead.
Is this a test?
Yes.
The previous, how many episodes?
Yeah, whatever you feel, whatever you can do. Get us caught up to our point in the lives in
Of course
Last
you
of
asked
Us.
this to me on the day that I'm like very sleep deprived.
It's almost
Gotta always be ready.
It's almost like I did it on purpose.
Right. Well, let's see. The last episode we talked about was when Joel and Ellie made it into the town with the rebels, the rebel people.
Mm-hmm.
I forget. I don't remember what they're called. But
People.
They're rebels too.
Mm-hmm. They're humans.
Yeah. Humans, not cordyceps.
Non-infected.
Yeah, all of the above.
Those non-infected.
They were there. They ran into Henry, who had his little brother Sam with him, and basically all their goals were to get out of that town, except that Henry and Sam were being hunted by the people in that town. And by the end of it, there was a lot of carnage, and people got out.
All right, you did not do as well as Brandon.
No,
points for Brandon on that one.
2 weeks in a row. Fuck yeah.
I knew I wasn't going to get points for
Stockpiling
this.
it over here.
All right. Just stockpile my points. I'm gonna buy.
I wasn't done
I'm gonna buy a
yet.
bouncy ball at the end of this.
Maybe some fake teeth with the vampire fangs.
I'll show up with a briefcase full of stuff in the last episode, and you guys can just, I'm gonna get yo-yo. I want to get the.
That's 600 points. How the fuck are you supposed to get that? God damn.
I have a lot
You
of
only
points.
get it all if you guess how much it all costs.
I get all the points. Well, we're not talking about future games, Jeff.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we jump in, this episode is called Kin. It's an hour,
Mhm.
and it's rated 8.8 on IMDb, which is pretty high up there. All the ratings are pretty high.
This one's one of the highest, though.
Yes, I believe so. It's definitely not the highest. The highest is Endure and Survive,
Which is the last episode we just talked
the
about.
one that we just did.
Mhm.
Yes. So, but this one, it kind of makes sense to me because this one is significantly less action-packed and much more of a
It's more character-based.
character development.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I would say, outside of maybe the first episode, this will be the most Joel is ever changed. Like, he's fundamentally, by the end of this episode, a different character.
Yep,
I think.
absolutely.
Yep.
This is where he comes to terms with reality. He accepts his truth. He accepts what's happening around him, and that really allows for that change. And he doesn't resist it by the end.
But and Ellie is always, because they're so close, she's always in there, and she's always a part of everything, obviously. And I'm not saying she isn't a part of this, but this is very much, I feel like, Joel's episode. Just beyond because it's Joel's relationship with Tommy, and then because of Joel's relationship with Tommy and the way it changes, then that bleeds over and changes his relationship with Ellie because of this.
Yeah. Yeah.
But definitely the relationship with him and Tommy are in the forefront.
Yep.
But we'll just jump in. I will say, is this the first episode that has started with a, not like previously on episode at the beginning, but it's a flashback, I feel like. Like, it starts, then they get a kind of a flashback to Henry shooting himself, and then they cut back to
3 months later.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think it's the first
believe
time it's happened, right? I can't think of another episode.
As far as we have watched so far, yes. I believe that's the first time that I wouldn't say gimmick necessarily, that
Wow.
Oh, whoa. Don't let Craig Mason hear you say
Jeez.
that.
You gotta put that in your email.
That would mean it's emails at this point. Gmail said, you can't have that many characters. You gotta.
They stopped me from emailing. Now they're physical letters. He cannot ignore me. This is gonna be like Harry Potter. I'm gonna put like 5,000 under his door.
Sent by bird.
Yes. Exactly.
Stupid birds. Really, they're fake birds, and I just throw the birds at them.
Just across the building.
Birds aren't real anyway. So.
That's a very good point.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting that you say that because the creators say when you end an episode like the last one with a tragedy, you kind of have to make sure the audience knows that you're not just ignoring it, kind of honoring it, embracing what happened, and then moving on.
Well, I also think it's super important to the way Joel starts to react and feel right from the start of this episode, because you start to get a glimpse into his anxiety.
I agree, but like, I think all the other ones were also very emotional, and big points happened at the end of them, and they never did it anywhere else. This is the only time that it was like, now we want to make sure we reference that, which
That's why I think
it
it's
felt out of
important.
place to me personally.
And I don't know, maybe because it was the first time a kid died at the end of an episode. Maybe that could be it. I don't know. But it was interesting that this is the only one, or possibly the only one in the entire series, that actually sticks out like that.
I don't know. We watched a couple like commit suicide. Right. I don't know. That was an emotional one too, but we just skipped that.
Right.
Apparently that one doesn't
But that's
matter.
why I think this one's super important that they do that, because they went like, fuck, man. Damn it.
Sorry.
How else do
I'm a
you
child.
say it?
No, I'm just a child. I'm just a child.
It's important that they did do it.
Oh.
Yeah, you like that?
There you go.
Because it just because of what just happened, it's just all these compounding factors leading up to this moment when this is the first time we see Joel actually becoming. This is the most human we've ever actually seen him in either the game or the show. Like this, we're starting to see him at his weakest point.
Yeah,
he's starting to break.
I agree. But we'll get into that. And I'm not saying it's like bad or anything, but I think it's an odd that, especially when they're about to jump forward in time, that they decide to do it at this point. But so then we get the flashback of Henry killing himself, and then we jump forward to 3 months into the future. And I, as I understand, this follows the game actually a lot because they do a time jump in the game as well, correct?
Yeah.
Yes. Between each season, they have time jumps.
Oh.
And like they almost break it into 4 sections of seasons in the game.
Okay. So in the game, they jump forward, and the first thing you see is Ellie hunting a rabbit, right? Or Joel hunting a rabbit.
It's been a little while since I played.
I know for a fact somebody's hunting a rabbit because I thought that was part 2, not this game. I thought it was the next game, and I didn't realize. But anyways, so they jump forward into the winter to follow like the game, and you see a figure walking into a cabin holding rabbits. And I'm not sure if it's supposed to be a fake out to be Joel or who knows. But once he enters,
That's what it felt like.
it wouldn't shock me. But they enter and you find out Joel and Ellie are in there, holding them hostage to try and get directions. The most polite, I assume,
as polite as you can
modern
be.
day, the way they do it nowadays, I'm sure, to get distraction.
And he used his little trick too. That he's like, you better point to the same spot that your wife just said. But he said it politely.
And you got a yes, he said it very politely. And they got a nice little like the two of them. It's another kind of small safe haven of like these two trust each other, and they're so odd away from everybody.
Yeah.
And
Because they've been doing it for so long.
before he was even born, 60 something years or whatever. But I do think that's like a reoccurring theme that you see in the beginning is like safe havens created with love and trust and stuff instead of violence and hate and controlling. You get a little bit of with the cabin and between them, and I thought their banter was fantastic.
Some of the best that we've seen, I think, so far. Their sarcasm and humor, and it has echoes of Joel and Ellie's sarcasm between each other as well. And I like how Joel isn't really even in control, even though he is kind of in control. He can't stop Ellie from doing what she wants. He tells the dude to put the gun out of reach. He doesn't really do that, and so I think it also shows that Joel is kind of tired of doing this. He's kind of sick of living this way, which we get into once we get into town. And it's just interesting that we start with that almost, I don't want to be doing this, but I'm going to, regardless of, what I want, because this is the only way I know how to survive.
I think he's also just trying to keep on track of a new lead based from what he's done in the past, killing innocent people. I think he's trying harder to be better.
Yes, exactly. Because and that's what I meant. He's tired of that. He's tired of that lifestyle.
I didn't get that right away.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
I took it as he was sick of.
I thought he was just tired in general.
Yep, I took it. I was like, I guess.
It's like, sure, yeah.
Not worth arguing over that.
I love the jokes that they made too. That we get those. In the summer, we get the fireflies.
There's firefly people. Yeah, that was great. Who doesn't say they're clickers? There's bloaters running around.
Yeah,
so,
right.
I guess that wouldn't be insane. I could see the clicker being a firefly. Person, kind of.
A little bit.
Anyway, so
I also really like that the cabin couple has a slower pace to the rhythm of not just their speech, but also like their mannerisms are as well as very slowed down, which is a stark contrast to Joel and Ellie, especially Ellie. And it's very quick, very fast paced. Yeah. So it's kind of nice that they're forced to take a little bit more time.
Well, they're still so on edge from the previous stuff that's happened this entire show.
We did see the flashback.
Finally, and then 3 months later.
It's a good thing we saw that flashback.
I know it definitely doesn't feel like. In the game, it doesn't feel like. Sorry.
I was like, whoa.
In the show, it doesn't feel like it's been 3 months.
Right.
Despite, they told us 3 months and it's suddenly winter and stuff like that. But it definitely doesn't feel like Joel and Ellie's relationship has advanced 3 months to me. It doesn't feel like that. But so we get a little bit of, it was the great, the woman in the cabin trying to scare them, and Ellie being like, you don't scare us. And Joel is
right. Joel,
as we know, Joel is insanely afraid of everything. Yeah, and he is. And then as they leave, we get the first reel of. I think like if we go retrospect and look at things, you could probably like attribute things for the panic attack. Like, oh, that was probably because of panic attack. This probably was. But they didn't do a good job, and I think we'd be mostly guessing over that.
Yeah.
This is the first time you really like, oh, that's clearly a panic attack.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Yeah, I would say that the shaking hands and the, kind of out of breath nature and the hold on, we need to really check everything out is a little bit hinting towards that, but less than I think
there's a difference between like being cautious and having fear and panic attacks.
Right, and exactly that's what I mean. Like if there was a little bit more beforehand, like you said, it would have we could have traced it back without just guessing.
Heard, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because I'm wondering if it really hasn't until he actually the bond got so strong with him and Ellie. That's when the panic attacks really like started. Like it manifests from him and Sarah a long time ago, and then it's kind of been just dormant, and now it is coming up, and it wasn't in the middle. But
and my personal belief is it's because of what Henry had to do to Sam. I think that was almost more so than getting closer to Ellie, because even up to this point, he's still keeping her at a distance. Still, last couple episodes, he called her cargo, and was very much like, no, I don't care about you as a person. I just care about the job being done. And yet the watching a brother shoot a kid, his kid brother, I think that kind of really shook him up to the point of, well, we really, really need to be careful.
I mean, I don't know. The way they talk about the things that they've done some horrible, horrible, horrible things. And I'm not saying like, the brother killing his brother isn't horrible, but like the way they talk about it, I personally think, and he still keeps her like, well, at the campsite, I'll talk about that. Like, so they leave after the panic attack. They do some hiking through the winter of Wyoming, which I feel like they should have more clothes if it's Wyoming in the winter.
Agreed. Also, there's a continuity error that the peaks of the mountains are very bare. If it's snowing in the basin, then the peak shouldn't be that, not snowy.
Are you calling them out on visual effects then?
A little bit. Yeah.
I was about to say those shots were all gorgeous.
They are. The landscapes are very gorgeous.
Like they have so much outdoor footage, and it's just like looks really nice.
There's a lot of outdoor footage, a lot of landscape in this one.
Yeah. Speaking of beautiful shot, is they hike and then they get to the campsite where they stop for the night, and the campsite is amazing. Have we camped there? It feels like
I know it totally does.
Some of the places we've camped in Wyoming, but I can't imagine this. But the sky's gorgeous. They set up a little fire, and then we get the first conversation getting into the character development.
Yeah.
But the first time they've had the discussion, I feel like, and this is because of Henry. I think what Ellie did with Henry, trying to smear her blood to solve. We got the first conversation of. It was a twofer. One is the first conversation of what happens after. Like, say I solve everything.
Right.
What are we going to do? What is this world?
Right.
And I don't think
what
they
do you want?
ever said that. And then the other one is if it works. Because it's always just been matter of fact.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever put any thought into it. Marlene said this is going to happen. So why are we questioning anything?
So I want to talk about that real quick before the what happens after, because I love that we hold on Ellie as we see her expression change from jubilance and hope and thinking about being an astronaut and how cool would it be to go to space, and then just the sinking feeling and watching her face change. I thought was a fantastic artistic choice to stay and not cut away. But then Joel gives her the answer she needs. Whether he believes it or not, that's exactly what she needs, because she's shaken to her core. Because she knows it didn't work.
Right, it didn't work the first time. Yep.
And she needs some kind of reassurance that it's not all for nothing. And I love that Joel is a dad in that moment. Even before admitting that he's emotionally connected to this person, he's giving her that reassurance and that it's going to be okay. Don't worry about it.
Do you think his first reaction, I can't imagine anyone can hear, but it is raining in the background. So if you hear thunder or lightning or rain, that is rain.
Yeah, I don't know if the mics are picking it up, but I 100% thought that was the cat just scratching. 100%.
No, Cammie's well behaved.
Yeah, no, she's just sitting there.
No, she
now that you say
not.
that, I go, oh, that's what that is.
What do you think his reaction when she told him she tried to smear the blood on to Henry, and he had a facial expression, and then it changed, and then he did the reassuring. Oh, I'm sure it's more complicated than that. I was like, did that look like he was also shocked and upset that it didn't work? Well, in his mind, it was going to work.
Well, yeah.
also?
Well, from the very beginning, he didn't believe this was going to work at all. Like, he didn't believe that she was immune or anything.
And he is also very against of like, you cannot save everybody. That's just not going to happen.
He's a pessimist, honestly.
Absolutely. I think that expression was more, why didn't you tell me? I could have done something. We could have figured some way out. I think that was what that expression was.
Of Henry turning or
yes,
Sam
of
turning?
because she says, I knew he was bitten and I tried to save him. And his expression, it is after I knew. So I think that he's more concerned that, it's getting really loud. I think he's more concerned that she hid some piece of information from him, and I think that is my evidence for that.
Yeah. Sorry, he said we could have done something. I thought you meant about Sam turning. Like, I don't think he thinks he can stop.
Maybe not stop, but we maybe could have saved Henry, right? We could have saved one of the two. We could have done anything but
I feel like that situation would have gone bad because I feel like Joel would have wanted to kill Sam, and then Henry would have gone berserk.
Then it would have been a huge fight.
Well, sure, but to the point of, we would have had a choice. We could have had a choice instead of letting it play out the way it did. And that happens later when they get into town. And I don't want to jump too far, but when...
Yeah, but you're going to?
Yeah. I don't want to jump too far ahead, right? And bring it there because I still want to talk about this.
Right.
But when we get to Tommy, there's a piece of information that's revealed, and Joel does the same thing. He stops of, this is new information. How could you hide this from me? Is that I feel like that's evidence of he doesn't like not knowing.
In my opinion, the Tommy stuff is just because it's his brother and it's his whole life.
Okay.
And if it's not reversed, it's not. But
it's not reciprocated.
We'll
get to that.
But anyway, one thing I did want to bring up about this this scene in particular is that correct me if I'm wrong if you played the first game like sooner than I did or more recently. But I don't remember Ellie telling Joel about the situation with Sam and trying to save him. I think it's that was her thing that happened and she didn't share it with anybody.
I don't remember that she shared it.
Yeah. But I do like that they incorporated that moment into this show. I actually really like that she shared that bit of information.
It was a good moment.
This episode is great for expanding on what the game couldn't do for, and even Druckmann talks about that.
Whoa, you just take that, Geoff? You just insulted your game.
I'm burning right now.
Jeez.
It's all right. If you need to cool down, step outside. Neil Druckmann does hint at that. They couldn't do certain things for budget reasons or because of time constraints or because, like we've talked about before, because there's already so much cinematic elements in the game, right? They got to get to gameplay.
Yep.
So it's nice to be able to flesh more things out.
Which is ironic because in reality, it takes longer to play the games than it does to watch the shows.
Yes.
Right.
So it's interesting to think about that perspective.
Right, the dynamic.
Yes. But I get what you're saying.
How much of that time is going back going, fuck, all right, I got died that way. Okay, cool. I can't.
Totally. Yeah,
I can't go this way.
You're not wrong.
That's why I don't play video games. I don't have that kind of patience.
Fucking infuriating.
Yeah, you die once and you're like, well, fuck this.
I mean,
honestly,
it's over, isn't it?
That's why you play Stardew Valley.
Yeah,
there you go.
Even though I do die in that also. But anyway,
I didn't know you could die in it.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah. And at some point, you just go, all right, I'm not crouching anymore. Fuck it. I'm just taking gunfire. I can take 4 shots.
I've got my hatchet.
If I bum rush two of them. Yeah. All right. Anyway, we get to see the Aurora Borealis, which is interesting to think that.
Is that in Wyoming?
Exactly. That would be that south.
To be fair,
but
I missed it while watching it in my car.
Yeah, sure.
Well, no, yeah, there are times more recently, even here in Colorado, that you could see the Northern Lights. Because of science, but I've never seen that.
Scientific magic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I've never actually seen them. That's a goal of mine. Have you guys ever seen the lights in person?
I missed them in Iceland.
Oh, that's.
I don't think I have.
Yeah.
I feel like you would know.
You didn't see any weird lights in the sky?
Yeah, I don't think so. Other than the aliens that picked me up, but other than that,
well, that's why your memory sucks.
Well, they specifically choose to pick you up when Northern Lights aren't there.
My memory sucks because of the weed. Yeah, maybe. Geoff, you might be right.
Yeah.
Might be right. Well, so then the other thing that they talk about is they do talk about, what do you want to do for the in the future?
Yeah.
We get we get more of how obsessed with space Ellie is.
Yep.
Which I don't, we get small hints of it beforehand. But now we really get she's loves space and adventure and, danger and she's fearless. And then, no, I'm joking. But I do love the line, Sally fucking ride.
Yep.
Fucking ride. Which does two things. It shows, that she has a passion and an idol, but she also that it also shows that Joel knows Ellie. Like he recognizes what she's interested in.
Yep.
And she doesn't even comment on that, and I love that.
Well, in fairness, she listed 3 astronauts, and then listed the first female in space.
True.
That's not that crazy, but, but yes, I do still agree that he does know her. But I like his, which ultimately I think might be a lie, because he said, "Oh, I want to be a sheep farmer."
Yes,
which I think realistically is just more of he's just repeating what they just saw. They just were at the cabin, and they had a quiet life with that They didn't have to worry about stuff.
Yeah.
And he just wants that. And he just added, sheep or some shit.
Something to isolate.
Quiet.
Exactly. Isolate himself.
Which ultimately I don't think he wants. But at the moment.
I agree.
Before he's, more truthful with himself and everything, I think that is what he's gonna say.
I absolutely agree with you.
And then they go to sleep. And anything else?
Oh, yeah. It's just funny because I just played the part, the museum part.
Yes,
in part 2.
That's one of my favorite scenes from that game.
That one got me. That one got me a little emotional. But it's interesting that I just listened to this part about space because they included that from part 2. That was something that one of the first things that when Mason visited Naughty Dog, Neil's like, "Hey, you want to see something?" And that was the scene he showed him. And I just found it interesting.
That scene is so beautiful.
So beautiful.
I will hate if they change that scene.
I know, right? But I love that. I get exactly what they're talking about, and it was just timed somehow perfectly.
It makes watch. I don't know if it may change the way you viewed this scene while watching it a second time.
Did.
But
100%.
It's just catching all those little things and details that they're sprinkling in, even from the second game, it just makes it makes it really fun.
Yeah, I agree. So
yeah.
That doesn't have to stay in. That doesn't have to make the podcast.
I'm going to be honest with you guys. I wasn't even listening. I assume you guys are talking about part 2? Okay. That's what I thought.
That was more for, hey, I can.
There'll be another instance of that coming up.
I'm cool too, Geoff. I imagine there's going to be a bunch. This is this episode is jam-packed with references and Easter eggs for the next scene, the next part, because that's going to be their home base or whatever.
Yeah.
More or less.
But this episode's conflicting for me because there are things that I like that the show added in that isn't in the game, and then there are things that they didn't add that I would wish they did.
I think that, and there's also, I feel like there's at least one fight that's verbatim from the game.
Yes, and that's exactly the same.
Okay, so then they're at the campfire. They decide they're going to bed, and we'll go back to the he still won't let Ellie do anything important.
Yeah,
and I think it goes to and I don't remember where I heard this, one of the places I was listening, but Joel associates dependency with love. Oh. And it's so when if we go way back to the flashback, when Tommy shows up, they're like, Sarah's like, "Oh, he loves you." And he goes, "No, he's dependent on me." And he's not the same, but they're like, "No, we think it is." And it's everybody. So then he's always protecting and doing stuff for people. So he associates that with love and emotions. And when you depend on somebody else, you start to really depend on them and need them and love them and have a relationship. Yeah. So I think it's his way of keeping her at an arm's reach. It's no, you're not going to keep watch. I'm here. I'm by myself. I can do everything.
Yeah.
You're just quote unquote cargo. I'm trying to keep you cargo, not my partner. We're not in this together. I'm watching you. So I think that's his trying to keep him, sees the emotions coming and trying to keep her at arm's reach. That's why
I would agree. Absolutely.
He won't teach her how to hunt. He won't let her
shoot a gun.
Keep watch.
But he's been breaking a little bit because in previous episodes he did teach her how to hold the gun and stuff like that. He's starting to progressively break into this new relationship.
I think he cracks in the character.
I think he doesn't realize it until then the panic attacks or after Sam and Henry, he really went oh shit. I need to get my life together because she is like a daughter to me now at this point, and that's not good for me.
Yeah.
I won't be able to live through it again when she dies.
Yep, exactly. And I've done everything for the last 20 years to avoid this. How the hell am I here? How did I end up in this situation?
One thing I wanted to bring up that I loved that they kept in is just I love that they keep this, again, going back to the games, with the very smallest of details. Her trying to learn whistle and learning how to whistle. I love that they put that in this episode. I don't know if you guys remember that, but it's
I don't remember it from the game, but I remember it from the episode.
Okay, we'll get there.
Okay.
But it's that is a thing from the game where it's like literally a progression throughout. Like they do the durations like 3 months, 3 months, 3 months, and
okay.
she's like
So
trying to start whistling at the beginning, and then by the time you're like towards the end of the game, she's actually like she gets her first
great
whistle out, and
whistling.
she's like, "Joel!" It's
Is
great.
this the beginning of it in the game also? Because I don't remember her
I think-
whistling before this.
I
in the
think they
show.
started earlier in the game
Okay.
itself.
I was gonna say,
but
'Cause to me, it feels like one of the earliest.
I
whistles.
think this is the first time we've heard her
Yeah,
try
this is-
whistling.
I believe this is the first time we've
Because
heard
in the
it.
show.
the great banter of, so you can't whistle? Does it fucking sound like I can whistle?
I
Love
love that,
that.
stuff.
Love that.
Yes, there's so much of that in the game too.
But so they wake up in the morning and they start hiking to cross the death river.
River of Death.
River
Whoa.
of Death. So and then they keep hiking and eventually they get caught up and they get captured and surrounded by the people on horseback, which we now know are from the Jackson town.
Yes.
But you know, you don't know at the moment. Then they surround.
So real quick before we get right into that, there's a big distinction from the game that kind of bugs me is that so all those people are from Jacksontown, right? Before when you first run into these people and Tommy in the game, they're actually at a dam.
At the dam. That's
Yeah,
what I
They,
heard.
the dam scene it was pretty cool because you have to repair it, and that's how you
Right.
get power to
well,
the town.
I just like the story of it that they're trying to start the civilization at that point. They're like they have like a
really?
scientist there that's like trying to build the machine to be like, yeah, we're going to use the running water to generate electricity. We're going to start this town.
We hope it works. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, and then they just kind of
Interesting.
skipped over that, and the town's already established.
See, and I like that they skipped over that.
I did
like
not.
That
Yeah.
I did not.
I'm
because I
with
think
the
we're far enough.
skipping.
Yeah, I think we're far enough into.
Sorry.
They already
Well,
skipped
because-
3 months. They had to skip this scene.
Well, because I think to me the difference is like what they did in the show is classic like adventure stories where it's like you right before the end where it's like there's the final act, the final battles and stuff. You give them that safe haven. You give them that taste of like
What life
just-
could
you
be
don't-
if you stopped.
you don't have to go. You can just stay here. We could stay. And then, but if it's with the town is about to start, you kind of have that question like, oh, should we stay? What would be the point? They're not even established and something like that.
Yeah, but I liked it for when if they're treating this as game 1 is season 1 and game 2 is season 2. I liked later seeing that town finally did get established by the time they're actually settling in.
I agree with you. I mean, the whole season could have been longer to me. So it would have been cool if like, you know, you saw them early doing that, maybe middle of the season.
Yeah.
Then there's like 3 or 4 more episodes, and then they
Yeah.
got to backtrack, and you're like, oh my god, it worked. It's so doing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like holy crap! And I think the only way to do that though is to follow Tommy's storyline. Aside from Joel and Ellie, is to see his journey getting in there. And I think that's the only way to really get into the beginning of this town in this way that we're telling the series.
Speaking of Tommy, his wife that we don't know at the time is in on the horses.
Mm-hmm. She's
Oh,
one of the
jump-
cutaways.
What?
She's one of the
Oh
cutaways.
yeah, she is. She's sitting in a weird ass way though. I'm like, is she like paralyzed or something? Right? Am I wrong?
I don't remember
Okay,
this,
well,
but
Brandon,
I'm not going to say that you're wrong, but I don't know exactly.
I'm gonna cut in you saying yes right now. Blank. So we get another tiny panic attack also. So the
Yep.
people they separate Ellie and Joel,
Yep.
and then they bring out the dog.
Yep.
Dog smells Joel. Obviously,
I
no
love
problem.
that scene.
And then the dog.
There's so much tension. There's so
Yeah.
much fear. And he's paralyzed. I mean,
Yeah.
because what can you do? Even if, your
I
instinct
know,
is to
it's
protect.
Wait, because even if he didn't have a panic attack, what was he gonna do?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Like,
no.
would maybe talk your way out of it, but Joel doesn't seem like to talk his way out of stuff.
The funny thing is, I didn't really see that scene as a panic attack necessarily. I just saw it as like he's trying to play it out, but then he expresses later to Tommy that
Yes.
he's just
Honestly.
he's like, I don't know what the fuck I was gonna do.
Yep.
Yep.
Honestly,
I
I'm
froze.
with you, and that's where like I was referencing before. Is like the previous stuff that you could probably connect to a panic attack. I don't think like they expressed it as a panic attack. It's just more of just him kind of.
Yeah, like
Being
he could
afraid,
have been doing his
fearful.
Joel thing, like
Being a
trying to think of a
bitch.
way. Whoa, trying to think of his way out of the situation, but they were
Yeah,
surrounded.
no.
There was
Yeah.
and even as
Exactly.
they played along, it was like we all know that Ellie is technically infected.
Okay, so now the big conversation I think coming out of this scene is the dog goes, smells her, got no problem whatsoever. But then the Fedra, their readers or whatever, reads her as
Does
positive.
pick it up. Yep.
So I don't. My
I think
belief
it's
is
pure luck.
You think so?
I think so.
Well, I don't think she has infected blood in her at all, but I don't know why, because I think she just has some white blood cells that have and her body has learned how to fight the infection.
Right, so there's no infection inside of her.
But then that goes counter to the Fedra reading her as positive, in my mind.
That was a lot earlier, though. That was very soon after. I think it was only a couple of weeks after she got bit, if I'm remembering.
I just think there's something that it's not. Of course, it hasn't been discussed, but I feel like when a normal person gets infected, I feel like their body's going through a lot of changes and their mind's changing, and the dog can pick up on those kinds of things happening.
That was
but
what I was going to ask is how do you train a dog to smell what do they smell like?
Well, that's the thing. They can sense some things that we don't. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Well,
okay.
And then they use dogs to smell for fucking
everything.
Like,
and then when it comes to Ellie, I think he just knows that she's okay, even if it maybe did smell something that's like similar. But the dog could instinctively just be I know I'm all right.
It could maybe. My assumption is that they just capture some infected and then they just train the dog, be like, this smell, blah, blah, blah. And then they have a bunch of different versions, controls, all that crap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hide the infected blood under the cup. And then the dog gets a treat when they find the infected blood.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. It was great to see, again, just everything play out. And I noticed the second time through when Marlene, right?
Firefly?
No, it's Marlene is the Firefly chick.
Leader,
right.
yes.
Maria, yes. So when Maria asks,
I know, it's so annoying.
too many M's. So when Maria
Monday midnight movie Maria.
I have my notes had Marlene, and I had to be like, oh fuck, I gotta go back and change all of them.
But when she asks, all right, who are you? Joel pauses. And I think he's thinking, all right, do I tell the truth or do I lie?
Oh, totally.
And I think he's tired of trying to run. And something inside of him tells him, no, I just need to tell the truth. Because if he had lied, they probably wouldn't have taken him back to their camp. They probably would have let him pass, maybe taken their supplies.
Well, they even said when they're in the town, they're like, we have a jail, but we don't use it. Like they don't bring, I don't think they bring strangers into that place.
Right, exactly. So I don't think that there's.
But I mean, I don't know if he told the truth because he's tired, but like he's there to look for Tom. He's there to look for like
he had a purpose.
Town or something.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that's exactly. I feel like I don't know if he would want to lie and then be like, oh, it's better if I crawl around this winter forest.
I think he was trying his luck in the situation and it played off in his favor.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
Shit ton of luck.
Yep.
Yeah.
Everybody's so fucking trusting.
Quite a lot.
But I guess I would assume Marlene, Maria.
You're welcome.
I guess Tommy must talk about Joel.
Yep.
And they must look similar also because she instantly was like, oh, he said Tommy, this is clearly his brother, so I should bring him to the town.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So then they take Ellie and Joel to the town.
Give them their own horses too.
Yes, I didn't see any of the horses there, but
no, I did see one dual rider. I don't know where the second one was, but they clearly were. Maria's like, all right, cool. You two get off your horse, join these other two, and welcome to the club.
Oh, they just combined.
Welcome horses.
Instead of putting the new people on a horse with somebody else,
yeah.
or
on somebody else. Yeah.
I would give them their own horse and then they're gone. Thank you.
Any chance to add you? So that was a little irritating to me, but also could show you how
trusting
and illogical.
This first episode.
Yep. One thing that is not irritating though is how well these dogs fucking act.
That's true.
Yes,
they're very good. Yes, all the dogs in this show deserve Oscars.
Emmys, it's a TV show. You can't give an Oscar for.
No, we could still.
They'll move into.
Gotcha.
We're gonna win it, and then give ours to them.
I was about to say you can give your Oscar to whoever you want. That thing's never leaving my hand.
So I agree with that. The dog was
it was solid.
And then they bring him to the town with the stupid horses. I want to say one small thing that I thought it just caught my eye in this last viewing is when they enter the town. Mm-hmm. If you look straight to the left, there's a pile that they're chopping wood and stuff, right? Mm-hmm. There's some dumbass who has a shovel and he's shoveling individual pieces of wood. I was like, what is going on over there?
Gotta give him something to do.
No, I agree.
That's Jerry.
So do you want to know my theory about stuff like that? I was kind of watching behind the background people too. Mm-hmm. Is that they actually I think I don't know why I want to say rented, but
Rent people?
No, not people, but the town itself.
Yes.
They were allowed to shoot there. I imagine they used some people from that town as extras.
Yes.
Okay.
And so, and you know,
I'm
being
sure
normal
they-
people, I'm just like, what do I do? Shovel
Yeah,
this piece of
exactly.
wood.
I'm sure they're like, don't look at the people, don't make sound.
Do not look
just
at the camera.
Be active.
Right.
Just be busy. That's all it is. And then they're like, shovel.
Oh,
Like,
here's
literally,
something
like-
I can shovel.
It was like
Yeah.
a big piece of wood that he just shoveled one, and he went for another one. I was like, you guys could have done something. Could have just been shoveling the dirt right next to it.
You know, it'd be really funny if he picked up one piece of wood and then set it down and then picked up the
And
same
take the
piece.
same one.
I would love that.
Like the Always Sunny episode. Wait, I just saw them pass the same fish back and forth.
I do believe they were whatever town in Canada they were doing. I forgot what it was called, but
Canada Town.
Canada Town. I believe they paid any of the business from like 1,000 to like 1,500 a day.
Nice.
I think, but I don't remember exactly.
Cool.
But so then they roll in the town, and I think it's such a parallel, or sorry, opposite to when they entered Kansas City.
Yeah.
It's like they entered Kansas City, and the first thing you get is, you know, robbers, thieves trying to trick them into kill them and take all their stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
The first thing they enter into the city in Jackson, and they see families, they see smiling, love, and it's just like a whole real town.
Yeah.
And it's just the polar opposites of just like the Kansas City is more like the, you know, the horrible version of what is currently happening, what we're all going to head towards. And then Jackson is the opposite of like, we can do this,
Right.
guys.
Like there's a way to survive. And they talk about that of it showing that there's a way to survive without killing and murdering and using violence, but to actually, you know, have a foundation built on trust and love and community. And I think, did you say that early in the episode, or early in the recording, is something is based in with love? Yeah.
The cabin is
yes.
a tiny version, I feel like, of Jackson, where it's like when you build communities and spots on, you know, love and trust and everything, that you get these versus Kansas City, Boston. You want to control. They're trying to control. They're trying to fear.
Yes,
murder,
I think that's
I think
that's a beautiful explanation and a fantastic parallel that you drew. I 100% agree. That's what I was trying to get at.
What's up, Geoff?
I couldn't remember exactly how you put it, but that was absolutely.
I'm just going to repeat him saying that like 15 times.
So now that we're in Jackson, one of the first things after seeing smiles and happiness and an established town, which, Geoff, I think this is also part of the reason why I like being more established, is because it is that stark opposite of everything else. Is there's a community that is thriving, and I kind of like that we see something actually working and not just either starting or falling apart.
Yeah, I do like that, but it just feels so early on to me.
Don't be so upset about it.
I'm not that upset. I'm just.
I guess it's a
It's
good
the
show.
distinction between the
Between one
0.75 rating of between
No,
the
I
two
hear,
for
I
me.
hear. And it's like your version is like the
It's the long game. Yes.
Versus the show. Like if we had started in Jackson where they were trying to get it going, they left and then came back, that'd be amazing. But
Yeah, I agree with that.
that's not what it is. So shut up,
But,
Geoff. The most cinematic meeting of him
I
just
know,
screaming
right?
across the street.
Yep.
Tommy!
Dropping
They, like,
what he's doing. I mean, it's a
they
good thing,
hug. It was
and it's a good thing
adorable.
that other guy is really strong, holding that entire log by himself as Tommy drops his chains and runs.
No, so here's the thing. That's a chain fall. This is another thing.
Oh, it's a thing.
It's a
Hell yes.
I paused and got into it because frankly, that the scaff build that they're standing on is not big. It's like one platform up, but it's solid. They have all the railings up. It's actually like OSHA safe. OSHA will probably approve of that. It's got proper stairs. When he was going down the stairs, I didn't see any wiggle or anything. That thing was solid. But then they have a chain fall wrapped up, and what it does is just like he pulls the chain and it just lifts it on its own, and then it'll just stay there. So then when he lets go, it's just holding off of the chain.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's even more convenient then.
That's why that guy in
I
the
agree.
background was still smiling. He's just like, this is okay.
Where's my shovel? I need to get some wood.
Yeah. Oh, well, I guess we're not lifting anymore now. I'm going back to shoveling.
I wish it was the same guy. I don't think it
That'd
was.
be amazing.
That'd be great.
But I love that encounter, and it's so loaded. It's multifaceted in the fact that it's a reunion and relief of knowing that, you know, Joel's brother is okay. It's the humor of coming to save someone who doesn't need it.
Yep.
Ellie's expression. Oh my God, that was one of
very
my
sad.
favorites.
Yeah.
Well, in part they talk about this. Is it's part of he's mine, right? You don't get to have him. I loved him first almost.
I
loved him more
I look at it a little
recently,
differently. I look
but
at
the other part is this isn't the way I read into it was Ellie's like, this isn't quite how I expected the reunion to go, or
really?
This isn't how I expected to find Tommy. So this is kind of weird.
Well, I took it for me. I thought her reaction was, what's going to happen to me?
That's what I
Because it's like
yeah.
it's like she has been getting this bond, and it is kind of like it is Joel is mine, quote unquote. It was like we are together.
Yep.
We're partners. We're in this game. We're gonna make it through this apocalypse. Nailed it together. And then, but he talks so much about it and how much he loves, and it's like you care about family, not cargo, and then you're there. You're at the family.
She has
the
this
thing that he's been wanting for more than anything.
And I take it as a sense that she felt like she's going to be replaced now.
Yes. Yep. It's like It's like
she's
I'm
like,
out.
you why like you don't like we only had each other this entire time, but now you found your brother. You don't
have
need
somebody.
me.
Well, and I don't know necessarily if it's going to be like, oh, I'm definitely getting replaced, but she's scared of like what's gonna happen. Hey, more fear. What's going to happen? Like, who knows what's going to happen? So and you can see it in like the next scene when they go to the barn and they're eating food.
Yeah.
And
she's angry.
She's instantly defensive, like you said. And we definitely get a little dynamic of like Tommy's excited to be there. Joel's still excited to be there.
He's so happy.
He's happy for both of them. And then you got Maria and Ellie. They are both defensive, frankly, because I imagine Maria is probably in a little bit of, Tommy's mind, and Tommy's probably been talking a lot about Joel also.
Probably talking a lot of shit too of, the things that my brother not necessarily made me do, but he led me into these situations and, venting a little bit. So I think there's a little bit of resentment.
I don't know, because when we'll get to...
Yeah, there's another scene later.
The scene, but I feel like Tommy seems very accepted what he did, and he's accepted and
let
made
go,
peace
honestly.
with his part. And
well, sure, maybe
like,
now, but early on, I feel like that's something you
but you grow
confess
with the person. I mean, I guess.
Anyway,
so then, but yeah, they're very defensive, and we do get another Easter egg, right, Geoff? In this scene?
Okay, yeah. So they allude to an important character in the second game that they just subtly introduced this person that Ellie sees off on the side.
Ellie looks over, and if you don't play the games or watch any of the spoiler stuff, like you probably definitely don't know, because I didn't know.
It was very quick.
Yeah, she looks over, and the lady, the girl that's like staring at her, she's like, what are you looking at?
Behind the post, she runs away.
She runs away. And it was a good... It was a good to show how defensive Ellie is.
Yeah,
really.
And I love her line of, kids around here aren't like you. Maybe I'll teach them.
Right.
Yeah. I'm not going to change, so you need to adapt to me.
Can I have my gun back? The kids don't have guns here.
Yeah, they're also
well,
not
fuck
armed.
you.
And then I think where the real where the episode kind of shifts and Joel starts to crumble, and like where his mental health and everything starts to fall apart is when he tries to get rid of Maria, because she's she's defensive, obviously, and like trying to establish like, don't fuck up my town. They're very protective of the town also.
Yeah.
So they're trying to establish dominance of like, don't fuck around with this town. So he tries to get rid of her by saying like, oh, can we get only family? And then Tommy announces or tells him, oh, we're actually married.
Yeah.
And I think at that moment, that's when everything changed for Joel. And it's like, now he's about to like spiral.
Yep.
And because even to the point where it's like Ellie had to be like, hey.
Well, yeah, they shifted. Like literally Joel from the beginning was like, hey, cut that out.
Yeah,
like,
right.
What's your manners?
Exactly.
And she's like, hey, congratulate them.
Say congratulate, right? Like that's a great shift. And it's again, like on almost, and you didn't run this by me. You didn't check. How do you know we can trust her? How do you know you can trust her? You don't know what you got yourself into. And then that shows when we're outside and taking the tour, and it's like, Joel's like, oh, okay, you share everything, so communists. And Tommy's like, no, that's not. And Maria's like, no, that's exactly
we're
what
a
that
commune.
is.
We are
literally what that is. And he pauses and goes, oh. And there's this beat and this look that Joel gives Tommy, and it's very much a, told you so. Like, you didn't run this by me. I could have warned you. I could have saved you. I could have protected you. You have no idea what you're getting yourself into. It was a very loaded look, in my opinion.
Yeah, but they're all in a happy family and a happy relationship, and it is good.
Well,
what's he warning him about?
Because and this goes back to episode 4 that I wanted to touch on, from when Joel is explaining his view on Tommy and how he thinks about his brother. of he labels him as a joiner, someone who wants to save the world, someone who really doesn't think too far in advance, but wants to be very present, and that gets him in trouble. And I think that Joel is always going to think a little bit less of Tommy because Joel thinks that Tommy is making mistakes by jumping into things that maybe he's not fully understanding or capable of handling, or again, this is all what Joel thinks.
But I think he's also thrown off by the fact that Tommy has had a huge shift since he met him in this town.
Yes.
Like he's basically a different person completely than I feel like when Joel saw him last.
I absolutely agree with you, and that doesn't sit well with him. I think that
agreed.
It's again his whole goal was if I don't get to my brother, he's gonna die. I need to protect him, and then to come to find out, he's doing just fine.
Yeah.
So now Joel is trying to find anything to kind of be like, hey, if I was here, I could have protected you. I could have saved you. I could have done my part and my job, because that's what I'm here to do, is protect you.
It's kind of funny, though, thinking about it. I'm almost a little more on Joel's side to some extent with his bitterness, because when he sees Tommy's doing fine, I'm just like, you motherfucker, you couldn't have come and saved me.
Well, I think, frankly, I think that's a huge thing, especially like when we jump forward a little bit and then we have the first. Before we jump forward to that, we get another Easter egg for part 2 because they go to the
with the barn.
and they see a tiny little horse.
Oh yeah,
and what's that horse's name?
It's Shimmer.
So that's another Easter egg for 2.
My gosh.
So remember that.
Ellie and Shimmer bonded right from that moment.
Right?
Very early on.
And then so they separate, and then one of the biggest, if not the biggest scenes, one of the biggest scenes in the episode comes next when it's Tommy and Joel at the bar and they have their confrontation.
Such a great conversation.
So a lot of things are said, but one of the things is he lies about Tess. And he lies that Tess still alive.
Yeah.
And I think in his head, all of this is him saying is, especially when they're talking about, we don't communicate outside of the city. We don't bring in, undesirables and everything. And then Joel's like, Tess and I could have moved here and lived with you, and we could have had this life. And it's like,
it didn't have to be so bad.
My life didn't have to be so bad if you had just, cared about me and done the things that for me that I did for you.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because that was one of my questions I was going to propose is, why does he lie? And I didn't really have an answer. So I think you're absolutely spot on with that.
Yeah, I think it's a combo of that. And it's just like, in general, he's a little embarrassed.
I was gonna say, I think he's ashamed
because he's supposed to be the protector. He's supposed to be like, the whole time he called in episode 4, he called Joel called Tommy delusional. In reality, I believe Joel's delusional.
I agree
because
with you.
in his mind, he is the hero. Like everything he was describing, most of what he was describing Tommy, I was like, I could probably describe that's Joel in most of the effects, other than like wanting to join
the military or the Fireflies,
stuff like that. Joining, he wants to be the hero, but he wants to be in front of everything.
He just doesn't maybe want the recognition or something like that.
I don't know. But so I think he's embarrassed. I think he's like, because even beyond of like, I didn't give Tommy this life. I'm not currently giving Ellie this life. Even beyond, farther back than that, I didn't even give Sarah this life. Because even in that flashback, we were clawing tooth and nail to just get work. She was her own. I was barely protecting her.
Yeah.
I've never been this successful. And Tommy did it without me and cut me out of his life. Doesn't need me in any way, shape, or form.
It's gotta sting. Well, he even says, sorry to interrupt.
You're good.
Joel even says early at the campfire that's not even, when Ellie asks, hey, what do you want to do after? Joel even says, that's never been an option for me. And I absolutely agree with you, Matt, that it's, it's got to be really difficult to see somebody else living the life that he could have had at any point in pre-infection or pre-outbreak or post-outbreak. I think that, so then the resentment starts to set in, and that's when the argument steps in. And I don't know how you guys feel about emotional
I feel
fighting. No, emotion as action. But this is a very, if you count that, it's a very action-packed episode of they are trading blows. Each man is trying to hurt the other, with what they say.
See, I don't think anybody's trying to hurt each other.
Really?
But I don't think so. I think they're all just being defensive.
Yes, I think they're accidentally hurting each other, but
I think
reality they're defending themselves.
Well, they're defending themselves, but they're absolutely, at least with the last two lines before Joel walks out of, especially now that Joel knows, hey, the big reveal, by the way, I can't leave because my wife is pregnant. I'm going to be a dad. I'm going to get to do everything you wanted to do, and I get to do it.
I don't think he was throwing that in his face, though.
Well, no, I think he was. Well, I think it's more like blind rage. Like Joel, it's something that he wants. He's jealous. He's angry.
Yeah.
And I agree with you that it's like he does lash out, and I do think it might be to hurt, but it's like one line here or there. Like,
but it's
so I'm not saying
intentional.
like the whole time he's trying to hurt him. I agree.
Okay,
It's like
this is part of a defense mechanism.
I think it's
Okay.
part of like the whole process of like him being embarrassed and scared, and that he lashes out to whoever's close, and he doesn't see Tommy in that moment as his brother anymore. Like he doesn't trust him. He lied about Ellie. He lied about Tess. And so he doesn't trust him. He doesn't love him at that moment.
Right.
Obviously, it changes and everything.
Well, there's also this element of, so we talked about how Ellie feels like she's hurt because she feels like she might be getting, in a sense, replaced by Tommy. But I think Joel's also hurt because he feels like there's a sense of getting replaced by Maria.
Yes,
He wasn't even
absolutely.
like going
Absolutely.
to. He was 100% because Maria's the
already had
leader that he
replaced.
wasn't. She was able to build this town, whether she calls herself the leader or not. You know, I heard in the game she is actually like the straight up leader
I believe
Pretty
so.
much,
I
and
believe
not
so, yeah.
married to Tommy.
It's the same thing. They're
just
getting
together.
into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
These people lie to me. But yeah, so I mean, I do agree that Joel hurt.
Joel
Tommy.
is hurt, so he's going to hurt.
Yes, and I think it's just like I said, more blind rage and lashing out, but I don't think the whole time he's trying to hurt them. I don't think the rest of the conversation is him trying to hurt.
I agree with you, I didn't mean for the entire it to seem like the entire conversation I was saying was a fight, but it leads up to this blow for blow. I guess we'll see, and then I'm living your life. Like I get to have my own life, even if it's what you want, what you wanted. It's
Just
okay.
because your life stopped, mine doesn't.
Yeah.
Have to.
And that obviously those two
Yeah.
I think are very intentionally
Yes, I agree.
trying to. So that's where that came from. After that, Joel storms out, hopefully to clear his head and prevent him from saying anything else that he shouldn't. But he has another panic attack, and I like that this panic attack happens with a backdrop of like Christmas and family and love and all of that.
Well,
Doesn't he
community.
also? I could be mixed up the parts. Is this the part when he sees his daughter?
Yes.
Fake daughter.
Well, he thinks he
Yes,
sees
in quotes.
what could be. So the interpretation that the creators gave, which I didn't get this, and I kind of like it, is that person could be his daughter and granddaughter, right? The
Right.
kid who runs to her. That could be his life, and
What could have
that's what
been.
he's seeing, and that's what stops everything. Of basically not necessarily getting a flashback, but like an alternate reality.
Like triggering a what could have been
Yes.
sort of
Yep.
reality. Yes.
So I also think, because like I kind of mentioned earlier, was like the main conflict and change is between Tommy and Joel, and Joel's life has been, at least since we've known him, has been. I need to get to Tommy. I need to get to Tommy. Tommy needs me. Tommy needs me. That's what he's been able to focus on, and then basically block everything else out, right? Because you have a sole focus on something, and you just keep moving forward with that. Now he got there. Tommy doesn't need him. Like the purpose of his life is he's lost it. He's lost his focus. So now his mind is allowed to travel wherever. So now that's when he's now Sarah's probably in his mind a lot more. It leads to this, like what could have happened, and then it leads to like him and Ellie's relationship changing because he doesn't have that thing to focus in it and distract himself from reality.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is almost a catalyst to go, what have I been doing for the last 20 years? Because I'm still in the same headspace. I'm still in the same, and it's killing me. I don't like this. I don't want to do this, which I think is what allows him to ultimately start coming to terms with everything. And then, later on, tell the truth to his brother and actually be a human and a person and be vulnerable for the first time in a long time is show that underbelly and that side. But we'll get to that.
Yeah. And that's like the most vulnerable we've ever seen this character, whether you're talking about the game or the show itself. Like this is where he lets it all out, honestly.
And I think it's set up very nicely. But before we get to him having a breakdown, we finish with him outside having his panic attack, and then we jump to Ellie coming out of the shower. And I think one of the things also with Ellie is not just like afraid of, oh, am I going to lose Joel? What am I going to do? I also think we view this as, oh, it must be so nice. She's finally in a normal town. She's finally in a normal life. And even Joel and Tommy and Maria, they're all, or Marie, whatever, are all like from pre-infection.
Yep.
Ellie does not know this normal. This is not normal to her.
Oh,
right.
yeah, this is normal.
Still weird to her because
this is foreign.
Yeah, so she's not comfortable here. She doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah.
She comes out of the shower, there's clothes, and
Her stuff's gone.
Yeah, her stuff's gone. She's not used to this. She's uncomfortable and on her toes and defensive.
Yeah.
Beyond I might lose Joel and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then so she grabs the
That's a great
clothes,
point.
walks across the street to their house. And I would love to say, I fucking love the color of the house that they're staying in. That like teal house with like the wood trim.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I want to live there. Where the hell is that?
Wyoming, apparently.
Well, it's
Jackson.
Canada. It's Canada, but I would love to live in that house, and I thought that was fucking amazing. But anyway, so she gets across the street to Tommy and Marie's house, and then Marie, she sees the shrine to the kids.
Yep.
And then Marie shows up, and Marie gets her some more clothes. They sit down and they have
Nice
she
big
cuts her
puffy
hair
jacket,
and has a talk and stuff. And
It's her first taste of what like a mother figure should do.
well, actual mother, because she
Right.
did have that kind of connection with Tess for a little bit.
Briefly, yeah.
Briefly, and
but now
also
this is more like a proper
Yes.
mother. And
Yes.
Maria, Marie wants to be the mother. She tries the mother and stuff.
Yeah, because she already was, so she knows she can easily slip back into that role, and it's almost for her, I think, maybe in a way preparation for what's to come, because she's pregnant, she's going to have a kid, so
I think she's a natural protector also.
But yeah, I
think
would
it's
say
just
absolutely.
like
She's
I see
just
a
very
child.
assertive and authoritative all around.
And
like
even before she was a
lawyer.
a lawyer.
Yeah.
And I love that menstruation is talked about, touched on. I think that they could do a better job of incorporating that in more scenes and actually making that a
remember
thing.
when she grabbed the tampons
Right,
in the
and-
gas
Yeah.
station?
Second,
like,
third,
that'd been
yeah.
horrible every other time.
Oh my
Right,
God.
exactly. And so, yeah, but a lot of shows won't even come near that subject when half the population has to deal with that. And I just love that that's something that's touched on. I think that there's still room to grow and ways to make that a more normal thing to have in the world. But I wanted to call that out and say that I really appreciate the attention to, hey, there's problems that you may not know about, and just because you don't have to deal with it doesn't mean that they don't exist.
Yeah, they put it like a realistic spin on something that's not real in a sort of a coming of age story for Ellie.
Sure, absolutely. Absolutely.
So, yeah, I agree. I like
How'd
it.
you guys think about the conversation between Ellie and Maria? Ellie's very defensive of Joel. Marie's trying to attack Joel, obviously. But it seems odd to me personally because, like I said, is in the confrontation between Joel and Tommy, Tommy seems very accepting of like what he did and takes responsibility for it, has moved on, has really like grown from this. But then when you switch over to Marie, it's like she's living in a world that way earlier that is the different world that Tommy is. So I don't know if like she just lied or something. It feels like a incomplete.
To me, it depends
connection to
on what Tommy told her about Joel, right? It depends on what Tommy's perspective of Joel and their time together was like.
But I'm not. But I don't think Tommy's accepting it and at peace with it, then turning around and being like, yeah, fucking Joel made me do all this stuff.
No, it's the exact opposite. I think he's venting and, hey, all this shit we had to do. My brother pretty much made me do all of this. And now he's come to terms with it after that conversation.
Was
so
she
Maria
not there for the conversation?
Yes. And that's why that Maria hasn't gotten over it.
No,
Maria hasn't
Maria was
accepted
there
it.
for Tommy coming to terms with it. And she did.
That doesn't mean that she forgives Joel the way that Tommy does. She resents
I mean, obviously.
him. Yeah,
I don't like that personally. I don't think it connects, but obviously she.
Yeah, she absolutely has some kind of resentment, or also even just is aware that being around Joel is dangerous.
Right.
That anybody who associates themselves with Joel is either dangerous themselves or is put in immediate danger. And being the maternal figure, just
Right.
In general, this natural mother,
Yeah.
she's worried about Ellie.
Well,
She's
that's the
worried
thing. Yeah,
about
she
what
sees this
happens.
kid, and then she's like, "Well, hold on a second. You're traveling with this guy. Like, I've known what these two have done in the past,
Right.
And,
And maybe you do, maybe you don't.
This. Yeah,
maybe you know, maybe you don't know, but
because they also
be careful.
You have to take into consideration that this is the first time Maria and Joel are actually meeting. Like, Joel had no idea that Maria even existed.
Right.
So it's not too far-fetched to me to believe that she's that concerned about Ellie in this state.
Absolutely.
Essentially.
As far as the conversation goes, I think it's fantastic. Again, it reveals a lot of character, reveals a lot about it. Speaks to who Ellie is and how quickly she can come to defend somebody. And
well,
how
I love the fact
of
how hard she defends Joel. Yeah. It's like that says a lot. Like, to defend somebody about, like, she's like, oh yeah, but how many people he's killed before? It's like, yeah, I know about that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, it is also the only person in her life.
Yeah.
At this point.
Well, that's what I'm saying is like, yeah, of course she's defending because literally it's the only like human that has been in her life that hasn't left her yet.
Right.
And it's like, I feel like she's going to defend whether she believes it or not. And I do think she believes it.
I
but
think she does, yeah.
But no matter what, she's going to defend this guy to death because this is my only other human.
Yeah. Because I'm attached to them and emotionally attached to them. But I also I think of it as more of another emotional action. It's a fight. It's a fist fight with words. Is again, and less of trying to hurt each other, but definitely Ellie's on defense. Ellie's making sure that no, I'm going to protect me and mine.
Yeah.
And maybe make jabs here and there. It's not very effective, but it's another fight, and I like that. I like that when two characters can have a conversation, it can basically turn into something like this.
Yeah, and I like the argument in particular between Maria and Ellie. It's very like quick and like it's like a very almost intelligent kind of
courtroom.
Yeah, there's quips are just back and forth, and it's just like it just made sense, and it was
both very smart
represented both of
characters.
them. Yeah,
Yes,
very well.
So then we get to cutaway of them watching a movie, which is again another symbol of wow, this place fucking works.
Yeah.
Like it
It's
actually
a normal
has
society.
This is what society could be. Like it's such a foreign dreamscape for Ellie, and she's put literally in the middle of something like this, and it makes her uncomfortable. And I love that you brought that up.
Did they actually show clearly what movie they're watching? Out of curiosity.
They show a scene. I definitely couldn't identify it. I know what movie it is, and I know it's the Goodbye Girl, 1977. It's about like it's a family that the father, I think, either dies or leaves. I forgot what it was. I think he left. So then it's a single mother left with her daughter, and then a guy who is, what's the guy? Which one is it? It's the one from Jaws. It's the short dude from Jaws.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I can't think of his name.
But so he comes in and like just lives there temporarily. They all start to bond, but then he leaves and then just abandons them kind of, but then decides to come back. So it's about the same relationship that Ellie's worried about with Joel. Is like, is Joel gonna leave me? Is he gonna abandon me?
Yeah, because what the scene is it's the first time that father figure is meeting the kid, because it's not just a love story. Goodbye Girl is not just a love story between
the Goodbye Girl.
Oh, excuse me.
The
Goodbye Girl.
Jesus.
Is
disrespect.
A love story, not just a love story about man and woman falling in love, but it's also, hey, there's this kid here who you also have to love and accept, and they have to accept you back. And that scene that they display is the first time that man is meeting the kid.
Richard Dreyfuss.
Yes, Richard Dreyfuss. Thank you. It's a great way, again, to kind of put what's happening outside in, different words and in a different way of saying kind of the same thing.
Yes.
Agreed.
So then she sneaks out.
Mm-hmm.
She sneaks out of the movie theater and starts looking for Joel. And then
Do you think that she's looking for Joel, or is she just kind of nosing around and trying to see what there is?
The way I took it, she saw Tommy walk in and she knew that they left together at a certain point to talk or something. So I figured in her head, she was like, Tommy's here. That means Joel's somewhere else right now.
Yeah, because she hasn't seen him since they separated at the barn with where she was petting
Shimmer.
And so I would assume she wants to go find him because it's the only, familiar face. Is like, we just had an argument about him and now I'm freaking out. It's like, I want to see him.
Mm-hmm. And so maybe has a little bit of separation anxiety to that point.
Totally.
Of, hey, I haven't, been around you for the last hour or two.
Or at the very minimum, you can't get away without me knowing.
I do like that. Yeah.
You can't sneak away from me.
Not that easy, motherfucker.
Yes,
I like
exactly
that.
right.
Yeah.
To be fair, I would be more anxiety about just being around all these strangers that.
Oh, yeah.
Because how many people have they been nearby that are just trying to kill them at this point? And then you're just in this movie theater.
They've
you're
been taught not to trust any of the people, and now you're in a city with more people than you've probably seen the whole time. And on top of that, that movie theater's packed. That sounds obnoxious.
You're surrounded. Yeah.
There's people all over the movie theater. That'd be horrible.
Go during a weekday at the evening or something.
I would never. I couldn't live there because I want to go see it on a Tuesday at 1.
That's right. You go in the afternoon.
You've got sheep to raise, motherfucker.
That'll be fine.
They look after themselves pretty well. I taught them.
It's a commune. Someone else is going to take care of them.
That's a good point.
So we cut to see Joel trying to fix his boots and having a very dad thing to do. All right, I'm going to be in the tool shed, isolating myself and coming to terms with my life and cooling down and thinking everything over. And then Tommy is the one who reaches out, and I think that's super interesting. Is even though Joel's the one who said something very hurtful and is the most hurt, Tommy is the one who's coming out to reach out and be like, hey, here's the olive branch. Let's figure out what the fuck happened.
Well, I mean, I think, like I said, brothers fight, that is what it is. But I think on top of it, Tommy's never been angry. Never this whole time. Tommy's not angry at Joel. Tommy's not mad at Joel. There's nothing other than the one comment. There's nothing that Tommy's have been aggressive towards Joel at all.
That's true.
He's excited to see him.
Yeah.
He's pumped. He probably really desperately wanted to reach out, but didn't want to ruin possibly ruin by getting kicked out of reaching out.
Yeah.
So it's I think he still desperately wants to see Joel. It's not like Joel showed up and he was like, oh shit.
Well, they didn't even say it. Isn't there a line that they said that they don't do radio communication outside of the town? So that's why Joel never got in contact with Tommy.
Yes.
Which is, again, is its own thing, but because that could be taken as Tommy chose to leave because of Joel, which I think is part of what Joel feels guilty over and remorseful. But also, again, he's very sad and full of regret about what he did or what they did, and holds on to that. Whereas Tommy has, like you said, accepted that and starting to move on and heal from it. And Joel is still like, oh, you're going to hold that over me for the rest of my life. And I think Tommy's in the camp of, no, man, it's okay to forgive. It's okay to forget, and it's okay to move on.
Well,
I don't.
That's why to me it makes sense. It totally makes sense of Tommy reaching out and being the one to be like, okay, you need to chill the fuck out, dude. He's
so much more gentle.
Get it together.
But yeah, that conversation again is another one, because another just fantastic reveal of character, because
I think this is the most important scene, the biggest scene in the show. The next one with Ellie and Joel is also gigantic, but I think this one more changes Joel for the rest. He's a different human after.
Absolutely.
I look at it as the climactic element of the episode in terms of the emotional battles that are going on with Joel.
And also it's the completion of the Tommy arc, realistically. The search for Tommy.
It is.
Because it's that's another thing that we've been, yes, we got to keep Ellie safe. We got to get Ellie to the Fireflies. But there's been another gigantic arc that's been pushing everything forward. Also, is we need to get to Tommy, and then we finally got to Tommy.
Yeah,
it's this adventure. And it's and now we're done. And
yes. And we have to resolve it somehow.
It didn't exactly end. It's its own movie. We got the climax of getting to Tommy, and now these are all the after effects. I'm trying to sort all the end of the movie, and then they lived happily ever after. No, they fought in a shoe workshop.
Shoe workshop.
I don't remember what it was.
Cobbler.
Some shed or something.
Yeah, but I didn't think it was a cobbler. I think he just was in a
Had some
workshop
boots.
and
Yeah,
had the boots.
Exactly. I
Yeah.
agree. And yeah, it's once we like we've been talking about is we see the cracks in Joel's character, but this is it. This is where the dam breaks.
Yes.
I mean, for lack of a better term, I mean once Joel opens up, he can't stop, and I don't think he could stop himself if he wanted to. But I think it's it's cathartic, obviously, to let go and open up finally. But this is also part of the reason why Joel keeps everybody at arm's length and stuffs everything down, is because there's so much built up that once he starts, telling the truth and getting into his own shit, it's so deep. Like, it's easier and better in his mind to just not talk about it and be that, stoic, I don't have any feelings. I'm fine. Everything's good.
Right.
And it's nice.
He also grew up in the 70s or something as a
also
man.
true. Also
where
true.
Did he grow
Yeah.
up? Also,
To
where was
repress.
he born?
I would
think
say Texas.
Yeah.
Texas?
Or at
Well,
least
that
that's
makes sense.
yeah.
Texas. Well, Texas
Whoa.
man. Texas man growing up in the 70s. We don't give a shit about
Very-
your feelings. You
very
have no
repressed.
feelings. Shut up. Go.
Be a man about it.
Go shovel the wood.
Feel free to send some emails, Texas people, if you have anything to say.
Hey,
Gonna be
that's
nothing
fine.
but agreements and then them dumping their emotional
I was
baggage.
about to say I won't get any emotions from them. That's fine. They'll be yelling, but they'll be like, "You don't know me. I don't care."
I don't have any feelings.
They'll make me cry.
But yeah, the I'm failing in my sleep line it cuts really, really deep. Of this person is so traumatized by everything.
And I love it to the extent of like he doesn't even know what his dreams are, but he wakes up with the feeling, and that's what matters.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like couldn't even tell you what the dream is, but I know I'm failing, and I know I'm waking up that I lost stuff.
Apparently that was, I don't know if it was completely improv, but that end cap of that line was more Pedro Pascal than being written on the page.
And this is the first time. Now, don't get me wrong. Pedro has been great acting this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is really when he lays his dick out on the table.
This is
And
when-
he's like, hey, I'm actually really good at this, guys.
Yeah.
You want to see emotions? Let's go.
Yeah. Well, it's the first time that we get to see him really outside of that, just like usual Joel kind of scowl and everything.
Yeah. And it's not that we're even watching him have emotion. It's we're feeling the same things that he is. And I love that we're immersed in that, emotional headspace.
Yeah.
And getting to feel that. And that part of that also has to do with the score, which we haven't talked about a lot in this episode. And I think that the score creeps up
I think
in
I'm up
times.
like 3-0 on Geoff for good points. That Brandon has complimented me. I think that's the score.
Wah,
Get it,
wah.
guys? Score. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead. What were you saying?
Man, you're going to get that stuffed animal. Man, you're going to get that
I
big
think
bear prize.
I think he's agreed with me a couple times. You're just not paying attention when I'm talking.
Well, I'm keeping score, so
Oh, the score's coming from you.
Unreliable scorekeeper.
It's always a lose.
yeah, I agree.
One of the important things I want to bring up for that scene still, though, is that Joel actually tells somebody that of Ellie's condition, and that's actually really huge.
Yes.
Yeah,
This
the
is-
first time he admits it to anybody.
Anybody, yeah.
Mhm. And it's like the inverse of their confrontation before, of like he's back to, this is my brother, I trust him, I love him, I need other people. And then he confesses Tess, confesses Ellie, and beyond that, he's
And
losing a
his own
step and what he
situation,
needs
yeah.
to do, and he's passing along, like, even at the very minimum, if this is important cargo, which we know it's not anymore, but even if it's important cargo, who do I trust to pass this along?
Yeah. But at the same time, it also feels like I know he trusts and loves his brother in that way to share that kind of important information to him, but he's also using it as a thing of, you have to take her. This is how important she is. I can't do it. Like, he's using it as a motivation to like, can you please do this for me?
Yeah, it's not just, hey, I like this person, I may love this person as a daughter. It's more than that. It's about humanity.
Yeah, it's
about
bigger than us.
Exactly. It's
I think he was also caught off guard because he thought he'd be able to just get Tommy to leave with him so easily, not have to say
true.
anything.
Yeah, he didn't have all those other conditions that are keeping him there.
He thought he was just going to be like, yeah, we can get there easily. And then Tommy would be like, yeah,
Cool,
let's do it.
I
And
know
then
exactly the way.
He wouldn't have to explain anything. And then, he was really caught off guard.
Right. I totally forgot. Yeah, we skipped over that part. I just love it. I just love this show of, hey, we're human. Even in this insanely fantastical world that hopefully never happens, there's still so much emotion that can be infused in everything.
Yeah, and just looking at the episode as a whole, I think that was like the perfectly written, like climactic moment for touching on, like, you know, at the very beginning of the episode, Joel has a panic attack, and then we creep on, and then they get captured, and he doesn't even know what to do. He's just breaking apart this entire episode, and then he finally the building up to this moment where he finally breaks and just lays it all out.
Yep.
I thought that was really well written.
Almost broke like a dam breaking, right?
Damn.
So then,
well of emotions over here.
I'm killing
Minus
it with
7 points.
I'm killing it with jokes. So then, Tommy agrees to take Ellie, and then they go their separate ways.
Mm-hmm.
And so Tommy goes to see Ellie, Joel,
Maria.
Christine goes sees Jeff.
Jeff.
Oh yeah,
The proper Jeff.
Ooh.
Yeah, you heard me, Geoff.
In other countries, it'd be normal.
I'm
Not
sorry,
this
are we in
country.
other countries?
America, bitch.
Texas.
Texas.
We go from one of the most cowboy states to the only other more cowboy state in the entire continental U.S. From Texas to Wyoming. Cowboy to cowboy.
So then, so then Joel leaves and goes. I assume he was searching out Ellie to tell her, "Hey, you're gonna go with Tommy tomorrow."
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But when he enters her room, and this is where we get the realization of like she did hear him. Granted, before that, I think it was a perfect example of like what I was saying of it's not a normal life to her. She just goes, "Is this really what?" The only thing they had to worry about, boys and clothes and stuff.
Seems so weird.
Yeah, bizarre.
Yeah. So then we get the realization she heard Joel, and then so they have their confrontation of she's angry that she's getting left again.
Yep.
And definitely lashes out. Another action scene. Lashing out of...
This time she actually physically touches him.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just words in this
Well, that's not an action scene. Action scenes are only words.
Fists of words.
Fists of words. Throwing blows of words. I don't know how I was going to word this. But I personally... It's a great scene, and we'll talk about that. But I think...
Someone's not enthralled by this scene as much.
One of the things that annoyed me was, like, one is, like, if she heard the whole thing, how could she possibly not be understanding of, you know, she doesn't understand fear and being afraid of shit, and he is losing
to be fair,
a step,
I don't,
and he is correct that he is going to get them dead. Like, everything that she said is correct, so she's lashing out about this stuff that I understand she's blindly angry,
she's not,
I'm sure.
She's not being rational. She's not using, she's never been taught to think logically. She's been taught or not taught to keep her emotions in check and actually think about what the better option is. And she's emotionally attached to this
But it
person.
sounds like it just happened.
I could be wrong, but I thought she only caught the last part of that conversation to where they agreed for Tommy to take her.
If I remember correctly, he says, "How much did you hear?" And then she says,
"What exactly
enough.
did you hear?" No, it's.
But
what
don't
exactly
they
hear?
allude to this?
Okay.
Like, don't they show her kind of like peek in at a certain point? I can't remember.
I don't remember seeing that.
Nope.
I could be wrong.
I know.
What did
looking
she say
for
then? Too.
So she say, it's
I thought
what
she said,
exactly
"I
did you
heard
hear?"
enough.
And she says that. Fuck! It's that you need to leave, or that he needs to take me, and you can't. Fuck! What is the exact line? God damn it!
I could have sworn on my first viewing that I saw her like pop up and just like take a glimpse towards the end of their conversation.
Nope.
I
She could have
definitely
in the
missed it the
background,
second viewing.
and I didn't see it.
I didn't catch it either time.
So I'm not saying
Interesting. I mean, I could be very well wrong,
but I'm just like, I didn't see it.
Yeah, but I guess maybe I just took it as that she caught the end part of that conversation. But you know, being a kid, she's taking it very personally, regardless.
I can see if she literally just heard the end. I can see her just being very angry, and I get like it's the realization of all of her fear, whether it's rightful fear or not, and justified. It is everything she was afraid of, and she was defending Joel, outright no matter what.
Yeah.
She was afraid that she was going to get left and what it's going to, whether it makes sense or not.
You know what's interesting? I don't know if you remember, I might be thinking of the game where they actually show her
possible.
catching the end of that conversation and then connecting it here, because going into it, that's just the mindset I had, is that she heard the last part.
It really depends on how much she heard.
Yeah.
Because if it is just the end, then it's justified to not.
She just feels betrayed.
Correct. Not know the whole thing. But I think in their argument then, he explains you'll be safer with Tommy.
Mm-hmm.
You guys can get there. I'm going to get us killed or whatever.
I found it.
Go ahead.
It's, I have to leave her. You have to take her.
That's what she said?
That's what she says, yeah. That's what she said.
I just heard you guys both say it, and it just made me start laughing.
Am I right, ladies? So she did just hear the end.
The one piece that she
I
needed
was
to
right.
hear.
Which
Or
makes sense.
Does that give me points? Do I get points?
No.
For being actually right?
No, get over it. -2 points for arguing with me. God, people. Do we not understand how this works? I'm right. Then I will edit around everything else.
I'm getting the rule book.
I will edit this until I sound correct.
He's done it before. He'll do it again. I noticed some things.
Hey, no, you notice a lot more than he does.
But going further into this scene, one thing I wanted to point out again, obviously the comparison between the game and the show, is that they nailed this scene as close to the game as they could.
I heard
the lines, the inflections,
almost exactly.
This scene with the, I think the few exceptions are a couple of ways that Joel carries himself, and a couple of the ways he delivers that line, because it's a different iteration of that. But everything down to the set decoration, the lighting, that is ripped directly out.
The main thing I caught that as far as what Pedro Pascal delivered versus the game was, there's a line that's when Ellie brings up Sarah, he's don't, you're on very thin ice. The wording was thin ice versus something else. I can't remember.
I think he said just don't say another word, I believe, but Brandon will look it up. In 4 or 5 minutes, we'll find out.
Nope. It is, don't say another word.
Suck it. 6 points for that.
Because he was right.
I don't think I was arguing
because
that
he
part.
was it was because he was right about something.
It's got nothing to do with
if you're right about something, then you get.
But I was
that's 6
intrinsically right about something else, and I got minus points.
Jeff, let's be honest. It's not about you. It's about me.
Oh, did you not know the name of this game is Matt is Right?
It's Matt points.
Matt's points.
Matt's points. Matt's points.
When do I get a Matt point?
You got a quarter one, then you bitch and moaned about it, so you lost 2. So you're technically -1.75.
I think
at least I'm not -8.
Dude, I think I've had
true.
positive points for a collective 12 minutes in the entire 10 years we've known each other.
You're at 0.
I'm not in the negatives?
No. You were at 0. That was the top.
Gotcha.
Your top was 0, not
negative.
It depends on what you consider 0. It's not positive, not negative,
Not negative.
Yeah, but you were not positive.
Not negative.
Correct.
So
I like this made up shit.
The sting of that line of, you don't, it is, do you care about me or not? Of course I do, but I'm not your daughter.
Yeah.
And he finally, says it out loud. You're right, you're not. And I'm sure as hell ain't your dad.
Yeah.
That has got to be one of the worst things
it hits
to
hard.
hear. But I love it because it's
gotta
a
be the
moment.
final blow.
It's very much an emotional blow, but it's also something that I feel like happens in real life constantly. Is you get caught up in the emotion, you get caught up in the moment, and you say something that you immediately regret. You know you shouldn't have said it, but now that it's out there, you can't take it back.
Right.
And there's no really saying sorry for it, because that is technically the truth, and that's how you feel.
And then Ellie comes back and starts unleashing all of her thoughts and emotions on the subject, just being like, dude, everybody has fucking left me literally except for you, and this is complete bullshit.
How do you not understand that?
Yeah.
It's a very emotional, because we do get to see a good amount of, we've seen a lot of death around her, but we don't know the full extent of this until the next episode. We get another full to really understand how much that means and how powerful that is, because Joel just responds with, I think you don't know what that means or whatever.
Yeah, you don't understand. You don't know what loss is, or some version of that. Which, of course, loss is loss. There shouldn't be a condition for one loss it hurts more than the other.
Yeah.
If you love someone and they leave you, or you love someone and they die,
Yeah.
that hurts.
But that aside,
period.
Ellie as a character on her own right has been through a lot, and
She
just
really
Joel
has.
doesn't know.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep,
And
or
this-
doesn't fully accept at that moment, doesn't accept again that she's a person and has feelings and is still trying to push her away, is still hasn't truly accepted how he feels about her.
And I think this is a good point to like all of these things. You can have amazing set direction, you can have amazing director, cinematography, all of this stuff. But if you don't have the acting ability, and this scene I feel like shows more than anything of these are two fantastic actors.
Yep.
And you could strip away everything and it's still an amazing scene.
I would
or
agree
you
with
could
you.
put two different
Yeah.
actors that aren't as good and it won't be as good of a scene because
Not nearly as impactful.
they hit points and inflections and it was perfect.
Yeah, literally, if there's any scene that I would like put the game and the show on the same level, it's this scene. Honestly, like I think they both had very much the exact same emotional impact to me when I watched both play out.
Yeah, I would agree, and I would say the other one that rivals it is the Henry and Sam.
Yes, agreed. Yep. Point, Geoff Point.
God, they're so easy.
Yeah, sorry. That was great. That was great.
And I love how Joel again storms away. Can't handle being in that emotional space. Storms away, and then we cut to the next morning, and Ellie's packed and ready to go, 100%. But she doesn't make her bed.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, what a freak! Just
know.
kidding.
Interesting.
Everything
Don't
else
look at
is
my
like put away and ready to go, and the bags are nice and neatly stacked, and the bed is still in shambles.
Interesting. Animal.
How rude!
Right?
She didn't roll up the whole mattress and try to put it on her backpack.
Someone else was assigned that chore for that day.
I did like that morning. Speaking of which, I love the look on her face of the still hope that it's going to be Joel that opens the door.
Yeah, you can see the hope leaving her face.
And then Tommy opens it and it's like, you motherfucker.
Wow,
The ugly one's here.
This. Damn. Damn.
No joke. He's a good looking one.
I agree. He's not as good looking as Pedro, but yeah, it's demoralizing to her. This is really happening. I can't fucking believe it.
Well, Tommy probably feels similar too. He's probably just like,
honestly,
this doesn't feel right, but
honestly, Tommy's pretty pissed off that he's gotta leave.
Damn it, she's here.
You've seen how good my life is, right? This is bullshit.
But he's nice enough not to say anything.
Yeah.
Yet. You give him 3 hours and he's gonna be like, you know what? Wyoming's this way.
Yeah.
Or
go that direction.
yeah.
So then they walk down to the stable, and oh my God, Joel's there, prepping his horse. I do like that he gets a sentence into it,
Mm-hmm. You deserve a choice.
and
Which
then
is bullshit.
she immediately goes, "Oh, obviously, let's go."
Cool.
And
that's it.
I don't
That's
even know
all
if it was a second. It was just like,
Yep.
Yeah,
as soon as he finished talking,
Yeah, it was like cut off the sound because I have no doubt he had another but I want you to really think. You know?
Yeah. It did seem that way.
It's
What's
incredible.
bullshit? What's bullshit, Brandon?
Oh, that Joel is giving Ellie the choice, even though he really has his mind made up of, the pseudo. Yeah, you deserve a choice of who you want to go with. Not I need you to pick me because I love you and I can't bear the thought of being without you.
Well, I think he needs the validation of, because imagine you stormed out. You're like, oh, I'm not going, and then you change your mind and. Do they want me to, or have they ever, or have they decided, oh, I'm out now because he turned me down once, so I'm never doing it again. So you need at least a little bit of, yeah, let's do this instead of bitch, get on the back of the horse.
Just kidding.
Right. Well, I think the entire time he's also still he's perfectly in the center of what he actually wants and what he actually needs, kind of a thing. He's like, I don't think by any means does he actually want to ditch Ellie at this point.
Right. No, I think.
But he still has he realizes that he's dealing with so much shit inside his head.
We'll get to it. That he realizes he is slowing down. He is going to get them killed. Mm-hmm. Like he almost fucking does.
Well, he's a realist. He's been a realist from the start.
So I don't think he in any way, shape, or form. He's like, oh, I'm so excited to get rid of Ellie, or like, oh, I don't have to deal with this anymore. It's just like, I'm a realist of like, I'm going to get us killed if I'm the protector. But so then they decide, they leave, and this is where the 180, and he's a different character after this.
Yep.
He now trusts her. He's teaching her how to shoot.
Yep.
He's all in at this point.
Answering all of her questions.
He's accepted his feelings.
Yep.
So yeah, he's talking,
really filling out that dad figure.
talking about singing and stuff, which apparently is a bigger thing in the game.
I don't know about a bigger thing.
So then he's also like they open up and then
Minus
they travel towards Eastern Colorado University.
I don't like that
which
at
is
all.
definitely Colorado State University.
Yeah, it's absolutely CSU. And there's I remember when that episode
It's even
dropped.
the Rams.
well, they also they said it's right off I-25.
I love that detail about I-25. I love that. It's like, oh, hey, look, it's accurate. Except then we're at CSU, which is not Eastern Colorado. It's North Colorado. And they changed from the Rams to the Bighorns, which was a little bit irritating.
Yes,
but
we're furious about this, people, because we're from Colorado.
Absolutely. But I remember the news actually did a little article about that of, that looks eerily familiar. Oh, wait, it's the exact same thing as CSU's marquee, but they couldn't be bothered to shoot here.
Or
goddamn incentives.
The idea in my head of them saying Eastern University, I just picture plains and farm.
Yes.
well, okay. Also, like they could have easily shot somewhere else and still said it was CSU.
True.
Because, for example, they're not shooting in Wyoming. They're in Canada.
Yeah.
Brandon.
So well, also,
I don't think it's they couldn't bother to come and shoot here. I also think they didn't want to go bother to get the rights to it and all that stuff.
I agree with you, but at the same time,
let alone they also reference in other places. They're like Kansas City, Salt Lake, and then Eastern Colorado University.
I know it is.
That was the weirdest part.
Yeah.
Why not just call it CSU?
I liked when we did get they got the 25 on the horse and they looked and I was like, oh, I know that city. I know the skyline.
Yep. I looked for the Denver Post building. Did you see it? The
little cash
top?
Register. Yeah.
Did you see it?
I was watching on my phone this second round, so I didn't quite see it.
I didn't catch it, but maybe that was one of the ones that crumbled.
They're walking around the college.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
They decide to jump out because they see the firefly symbol.
Yep.
They jump off the horse.
Which, by the way, looks very, very similar to the Pokemon Go Team Instinct logo. The yellow one with Zapdos, the bird. No, you didn't get that at all?
I believe you, man.
What,
totally.
with the Firefly logo?
Yeah, in yellow. In the other colors, no. But in yellow, it's very close to that.
I don't know. I play both games too much. I just know what they all both are.
Whatever.
I don't know. I played Pokemon Go for a little bit.
Yeah,
like a decent amount.
We became friends.
Yeah, no. That was a long ass time ago, though. I just don't
I remember the last time I opened that app.
I did this morning.
I'm not opening it this morning.
I've played every day for a while.
Nice.
Yes, he does.
I was very heavily into it. Anyway.
So they tie the horse up to the tree and they walk into the building to check things out.
Yep.
While they're looking around, they discover the fireflies left and they went to Salt Lake, which I know Salt Lake, so I'm excited to see. Maybe they'll go to Caputo's, get a meatball sub, but I doubt it.
They left some in, and they're still fresh.
That'd be awesome.
Depends on when that was founded, I guess.
That'd be so great.
But also, how convenient of picking up just the right paper that says, "Oh yeah, here's the
very
packing
video
list."
game-esque.
In every right.
Well, that's funny that you said that because that's actually a document that you pick up in the game, and they're like, you just decipher it. You're
just
like,
happens to be what you need.
A little Easter egg. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Do I get a point because I did that on purpose, Jeff? Do I get a Jeff point?
No, because you didn't like it.
Well, I was.
There was you have to be in your arguments you have to enjoy the fact that you were talking about something.
In fairness, I was going to transition over to you, but you jumped on it, which was good anyways.
Sorry.
No, that's good anyways because that was the whole point of it. That's why. But then they follow the shitty CG monkeys out the window. They hear the people that are raiders coming through, which was warned about. So they try to sneak out. They're trying to get onto the horse, and in the process of getting on the horse, Ellie turns around and again because Joel's hearing is garbage, turns around.
Old man.
Tells him, "Oh, someone's coming." Joel turns around and a fight ensues.
Yes.
But
this time not with words.
So a lesser fight happens. If you consider physical blows fight action, there was an action.
I'm sure there was a word on that bat.
Ellie yelled Joel as like an attack, I thought. And that's why
it almost knocked down that dude, but
I think so. But I think she slowed him down enough for Joel to slow.
You guys suck.
So then they're fighting. They're fighting. He snaps his neck, which is a thing that happens in the game, right?
which time?
Yeah.
You snap those bloaters' necks. So then, and then he turns around, and it's one of the most eventful things is the mummy connection. So,
Nice.
So Rutina, who's Maria, is in True Blood with Alexander Skarsgård, who's in Zoolander 2 with Ben Stiller, who directed Cable Guy with Eric Roberts, who's in The Dark Knight with Michael Caine, who's in Children of Men with Ed Westwick, who's in Enemy Lines with John Hannon and Corey Johnson. John Hannon is Jonathan, and Corey Johnson is one of the, I would say, horrible stereotypes of Americans. But he's one of the Americans on the boat. So there's your mummy connection. You're welcome.
Very
Mummy.
nice.
Yep.
Took a while to get there, but
I think that's the the end of the podcast, right? We got nothing else to talk about.
Yeah, that's the whole reason people show up.
Yeah, honestly, I assume everyone's gonna just check
that's
out
the only
now.
reason that's the only work Matt does.
Hell yeah,
That's the only reason
honestly,
she puts in.
this one took me a while.
I mean, yeah. So
I
he
don't
gets.
think there's anything else.
So Joel gets stabbed.
What? When did that happen?
Oh, did you not see that part?
It happened while the all the words were flying around.
Mummy connection.
It was after
One of the words
Yeah.
stabbed him in the stomach. But yeah, so he turns around, he gets stabbed, and then they flee. There's another fantastic things that I hate. The Raiders show up and see their dead friend, and they're like, "You son of a bitch!" Again, what did you think was going to happen when you were attacking people?
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah.
I would like to kill you without you hurting us at all. Please.
Whoa.
The rules are you don't touch me, I stab you, and we take your stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And if you even so much as think of injuring us, you're a motherfucker.
Yeah.
So then Joel can't. I don't know how he pulls himself on that horse. Adrenaline, I guess.
I would
Oh,
say
have
so.
to be.
It's
Yeah.
gotta
Well, it was like what? Even when they're fighting, he like turns to Ellie, and Ellie's
Doesn't
the first
even
one that
realize it,
Well,
yeah.
Ellie notices first, and
Yeah.
he's just like he looks down. He's like, oh fuck.
I imagine that shock. He's got to still be in shock.
Yeah.
Seeing it probably brings him back a little bit, but adrenaline shock, it's got to be.
Yeah.
And also, I'd like to point out, remember when Joel was like, "Hey, Tommy should take you because I'm going to get us killed." You know what fucking happened immediately?
Whoa.
Oh my God, Joel's too old and slow to do this anymore, and he's going to get everybody fucking killed.
Weird. It's almost like he predicted the future.
It's so irritating.
It's almost like he played the game.
They take off. They take off on the horse, and eventually, I guess they
get far enough away.
get far enough away that they
irritated
decide
me
they're
that
like,
Ellie's just firing blindly, wasting ammo for no good reason because they're not going to be able to catch up to the
Well, to be
horse.
fair, I would have been shooting
Yeah.
too. I thought they could, like in my head, I was like, the first thing I would think is like, if these guys have guns, I'm gonna keep shooting so that they run off, kind of thing.
yeah, I'm trying to scare them personally.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
if I'm
but if
looking
they
at
had
this way.
guns, why would they?
No, I'm just trying to. I'm personally. I don't know what. Fuck his whatever he said about guns. I'm trying to scare them.
All right,
Where it's
I
like
guess,
because
yeah.
they had
we are dangerous.
You know they
Yeah.
had bats and shit and a knife.
Well,
so
if they
that
knife
tells
doesn't
me
do
that they
anything.
don't exactly. That tells me they don't have
Guns.
So
But even
But if
still,
someone
though,
did,
But even still, though, me versus 3 with a dying man on the back of my horse. Even if I have a gun and they don't, I still don't want to take those chances.
Nope.
Because if they're just gonna follow me until this dude dies and I got to do something, they are still gonna like.
then you shouldn't waste the ammunition. You shouldn't just be firing blindly.
Well, I want to scare them away from me and then
so they
disappear.
don't actually do that.
They don't
All right, I
follow
see
me
that.
personally.
I get it.
But anyways, and then
well, what are you pointing at me for?
it was fun because you looked like you were about to say something.
Well, I am gonna say something. I got something to say.
Say it.
Yes, sir.
The way that went down is a big difference from the game as well, which
Ooh.
I actually I'm conflicted on which one I like better for different reasons because for one, the show does it in a more realistic way, but the thing I don't like about the way the show did it was it's a less intense and climactic moment for when they're actually fleeing and getting out of there. Because Ellie actually really helps Joel along in the game to like get out of the building and everything, because what happens in the game is that he's fighting off some people that like they're trapped up in the building because people are coming up, right?
Oh.
And so what ends up happening, Joel gets in a fight like close fighting match with a dude. They fall off the second floor, and he lands on a piece of rebar that goes right through him. And so it's a really fucking painful moment. Yeah, and then he like gets the sheer power to get off of it. Yeah, and he's fucked up. But then Ellie's right there like helping pull him along, and then guys are coming and she's like shooting.
Miss all major organs.
Oh god. Yeah, no, and that's the thing, right? That's the thing that is a little disbelief. It's a bit unbelievable that he came out of that.
Not the infected. Yeah.
Right.
That's the unbelievable part.
That's the thing on the game that's like unbelievable for me, is that he took a fucking rebar to like through himself,
impaling.
and he lives through it. Whereas I like how climactic that moment, and Ellie really fighting to get him out of there, because Joel's basically almost dead at that point already.
Yeah, I agree with that, because I felt like this last part it was
so quick.
It felt like an afterthought of the main episode, which they were like, the episode was Jacksontown and everything, and then they went, but we do have to do this to get to the next
ready.
Well,
we
have to do this.
It's like we're on point A, we have to get to point B somehow. Okay, this is how it's going to happen. This guy comes over and stabs him.
Yeah,
nice and quick and
so they
relatively easy.
Yeah, like Brandon said, they got just out enough, and then Ellie was like, okay, well, I guess we're good. Joel falls off the horse, and then Ellie's over top of him pleading, and it's like you everything that we just went through of like, you're going to be, I need you to be with me, and all this stuff is coming to realization for her.
Yeah.
And she's seeing that she is going to be about to be alone. They do a little zoom out. The horse is so incredibly fake in that zoom out. The horse is like so frozen. It's very weird. But they
watch it was real.
Maybe. But as they zoom out, and then the next thing that happens, I think it's just like, it's extremely fascinating. You don't see it very often. I'm very excited to talk about it next week. Well, I guess we'll talk about that.
A week coming to you.
I'm excited to talk about that next chapter.
In the future. Well, exciting stuff, guys. Thanks so much.
That was a really good episode. It is up there. It might be up there with one of my favorites.
It's definitely one of my favorites. I don't know if it's my favorite yet, but it's probably.
It's up there.
Okay, well, it's definitely not going to be my favorite now. So at the end, we'll talk about different episodes.
Oh, well, that was easy.
Matt points for everybody.
Yeah, cool. Anything else you guys want to mention? Any shout outs? Anything?
I don't think so.
Cool. Go find us on Twitter, on Facebook, on your favorite social platform. We're somewhere. Don't forget to write in, call in, tweet in, come find us, talk to me in person.
Just you.
I'm up like 9-0 on points on Geoff, just so everyone knows.
Congratulations.
Just so they can keep track at home.
Yeah,
Congratulations, Matt, on Matt points.
Everyone's keeping track at home.
I'm killing on Matt points.
You know, my Geoff points have been off the charts for I don't even know how long.
Thankfully, no one gives a shit about you, Geoff.
Jesus Christ.
And
whoa.